All right, I think we should go ahead and get started. And again, this is conversational. You can unmute yourself and we can talk in great detail. Ask any question you want. I mean, seriously, if you've got ideas about this stuff or even a devil's advocate approach that you want to bring to this opportunity, we encourage you to do so. My name is Russell Fitzpatrick. I am a real estate broker since 1986, and I run an essential employee relocation company. This year in March, we went ahead and created a nonprofit uh, for realtors, mortgage bankers, and title companies to join our movement. And our movement is essentially to give money away. I think it's the easiest job in real estate that I've ever done. I've been a realtor since 1986, and I've probably sold about 1,500 homes to cops and firefighters and teachers and nurses. But I've also sold another 1,800 homes to just regular consumers. So I've been a realtor my whole life. And I think it's a great opportunity for us to teach, train, and coach real estate agents together with our mortgage partners how to work in the essential employee relocation sector of the business and how to give away up to $10 million this year in relocation grants, rewards, incentives, and down payment assistance. I believe that any consumer that does business with the Hero Benefits Network is better off because of it. I've met up with realtors, mortgage bankers, title companies that are enrolled in a vision to support essential employees in their journey. And you see the categories underneath the relocation grants. You know, you're talking about ambulance drivers, paramedics, nurses, and doctors. I have an ER nurse in the family, and I have a teacher in the family. I have a firefighter in the family. I have a police officer in the family, and my father is a retired naval officer. So we have a tremendous amount of respect for the nation's public servants, but where this twist could accelerate your business in 2025 is the way that we've created this mechanism for mortgage bankers. So we're going to talk just to mortgage bankers today for a little while about the opportunity to partner with title companies and real estate agents in your local market, and we'll help you partner with them. That's what we do as a service. We're going to be working with you to not only help promote and present you to our nation's most respected public servants, but we're also going to be working with you to partner you up with 30 to 50 real estate agents in the areas that you serve. That's where the worm really turns for us and why the nonprofit vehicle became so important to add to our already essential employee relocation initiatives that we had been doing. I mean, I've been working with the Police Benevolent Association for 35 years. I've been working with the Fraternal Order of Police for 35 years. I've been working with the teachers' unions, especially those down in Southeast Florida. But now with the Hero Benefits Network, we're going nationwide with a never-repay. Remember, the Hero never has to repay the down payment assistance or the relocation grants. This is especially relevant today in 2024 as we approach 25 because of the affordable housing crisis. If you can imagine being a cop and making 58, 62 a year and trying to live in Fort Lauderdale, or what about if you were working the beat on South Beach in Miami, making 65 grand a year, and then you had to go out and deal with the public that are living on that stretch of Miami Beach. You could never live there. You could never live within an hour and a half of there and afford to buy a house if you were a police officer. So what we've been able to do with the essential employee relocation company and the Hero Benefits Network initiative through the nonprofit is to create ways to help the homeownership affordability issue, to provide assistance to police officers, firefighters, and teachers who are thinking about buying a home. We do that in the form of 0.0115 rebates. So imagine a firefighter is thinking about buying a $400,000 home with his significant other or family. Well, just on the purchase alone at $400,000, they're going to get an additional $4,600. That's just arbitrary. Now, different banks, different mortgage bankers require us to meet compliance for different programs differently. In other words, sometimes with an FHA deal, we're not allowed to apply that money to down payment, right? We've maxed out the down payment. With other mortgage programs, we can use it for closing costs. We can buy down an interest rate if they'd like to. Or what most of the cops and firefighters that I worked with over the years use that $5,000 for is furniture or repairs or upgrades or renovations to the house. They love to get a check for $5,000 at closing that they can use to go do something like a new paver driveway or fix up the man cave for the football games. But the more complicated piece of this that's a little bit takes a few minutes to figure out, but once you figure it out, you're off to the races. We'll combine the down payment assistance program with 0.0075 on the one they're selling. This is what's called a relocation grant. When we can take the one that they're selling, create a listing magnet for our realtors. This is where the mortgage bankers have fun in the Hero Benefits Network. We're going out and we're meeting realtors and we're teaching them how to serve the essential employee relocation needs of their area's most respected public servants. But when we do that, we add 0.0115 from the listing price, and we combine it with 0.0075 from the one that they purchased. So now you're talking about, man, that same cop, that same firefighter, that same teacher is getting $7,600 today rather than $4,600. Or if we're buying something, for $300 and selling something for $500, like the one I'm sitting in one right now. We originally met this disabled American veteran who was thinking about selling his 1.5 acre parcel in Florida with a big house on it because it was too big for him. He's 84. He said, no, I don't want to sell it. I don't want to sell it and buy a little house on the golf course like I thought I was going to do. So we just referred him, and he ended up doing a refinance on his house. And he ended up pulling out like $300,000, and he was able to stay in his house and afford all the maintenance for the rest of his life because he's planning on hoping to live another 8 or 10 years. So you really never know where these relationships go. A family could call you to list a house and end up refinancing a house, or a family could call you to sell a house and move to a smaller home. And then it turns out to be a relocation grant instead of just a down payment assistance. So I hope you understand where the funds come from. The donations are made by our realtors and our mortgage bankers and our title companies to support the relocation needs of our nation's heroes. And I consider every single essential employee that went to work during COVID an essential employee, right? Every single doctor, nurse, teacher, ambulance driver that was, called to work against, ferocious odds at some points. They're the same essential employees that were helping during COVID were the ones helping during Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton this past month, right? They were the ones that go out into the eye of the storm and fight the battle for us. So we consider those essential employees necessary. We consider them important, and we also appreciate what they do. And that's where the whole program came from. Devin, you want to say hi real quick and just introduce yourself? That's our membership director on the left-hand side of your screen, Devin Pinches.
Hi, everybody. As Russ said, my name is Devin. I am the membership director of Hero Benefits Network. I'm excited to get to know you all on, a one-on-one level, and can't wait to see what you guys think of HBN. Thanks, Russ.
No sweat. How about you, Randy? You want to say hi? He is the executive director, national sales director of Hero Benefits Network, Mr. Randy Nemiroff, who's been driving this ship for the past 7.5 months. How's it going out there, Randy?
It's going really well. We've got, this is something I'm pretty proud that we're building right now. And it's great hearing a lot of the stories from, not just the realtors and loan officers around the country that are generating more business, but from a lot of the heroes that are actually, getting the rewards back that we're giving them. It's a very cool feeling.
Amen. It's been interesting to watch the one family that relocated from Deerfield Beach, Florida to Atlanta, Georgia. When I was personally showing houses to this family back in 2020 and 21, this was like they couldn't afford anything in Deerfield Beach. We were showing them these teeny little townhouses, these teeny little villas, even condos. And at one point, this teacher was so dejected, looking at an 1,150 square foot condo for $350,000 with a $700 homeowners association or condo association premium on it, right? So then we said, well, what have you ever thought about moving? And then all of a sudden she started looking. She moved up by her brother and her mother-in-law, and they live now in Kennesaw, Georgia. Well, for $380,000 that she was going to buy a condo in Deerfield, she ended up buying a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house on a half acre, and she got an $18,000 raise when she moved. So she left the Broward County school system and she moved to Kennesaw, Georgia, and she ended up achieving an $18,000 raise and saved a ton of money on the house she was buying. So, these are real stories that are happening all over the country right now as a direct result of the work that our realtors are doing. And this is where I really want to take a moment for our mortgage bankers and talk about this. Think about 50 realtors that work for you. If you could put that into your mind, if you were running a real estate brokerage in addition to your mortgage bank, you'd have 50, 60 realtors working for you, right? Well, now you can do that. Inside of Hero Benefits Network, you can own a county and have 50 or 60 realtors working for Hero Benefits Network in that county. And you're the exclusive mortgage partner in that area for them. So you're kind of like the supervisor of that area. If you put your mind around that concept in the down payment assistance and relocation grants formula, you start to see, wow, I was trying to build a referral network. I had been trying to build a referral pipeline of loyal realtors. But what I've got is 6 or 8. But I need about 40 or 50 in this market, in this operating environment, right? So imagine you could grow your realtor referral roster, but those realtors that are in your roster this year, they're kind of required by the Hero Benefits Network to work directly with you in that county. Now, they don't have to take out their mortgage with you. That's not ever a requirement. We provide 100% freedom of choice as to where the hero goes to get their mortgage. But think about this, they're going to get almost $10,000 cash if they do it inside of the Hero Benefits Network. If you did such a crummy job as a mortgage banker that you can't capture their mortgage application with a $10,000 relocation assistance package with it, well, you must be way off on rate, or you must be way off on something, because what we're finding is, to date, my personal business, 100% capture rate on my mortgage, 100%. In my retail business, I only captured 35% of my mortgage. But in retail residential real estate, we were able to capture 100% of the mortgages through the Hero program because of the incentives and rebates and donations that are being made for the benefit of the law enforcement officers. When you jump over to military personnel, wrap your brain around the fact that 30 to 50% of all men over the age of 50 are veterans. So about half of all men were in some field of service, in the service. So you've got this huge contingent of veterans and active duty, and they're all like lined up for you at the VFW. They're all lined up for you at the American Legion. They're all lined up with you at the VA benefits VA administration or the Veterans Administration. There's ways that you can partner with the VA and partner with the American Legion to promote these down payment assistance and relocation grants directly to these heroes. I want to tell you a quick story about the Sunrise Fire Department, Sunrise, Florida. The chief doesn't go to the station, right? It's just a captain at that local fire department. And the chief is more overseeing, but I was friendly with the chief, so he got me in to go in all the stations. I used to walk into the stations with these flyers and these coupons to explain to the firefighters what it was all about. Well, this one firefighter bought a townhouse for me in Sunrise and then referred me to like 13 more firefighters over the years. And I swear to you, I probably made $800,000 just off this one guy. And I'm not joking, over a 6 or 8 year period of time. But this one firefighter became such an enduring fan of ours because we were able to help him buy a home that he put our flyer up directly over the coffee maker at the fire station. So the guys couldn't even go get coffee without seeing my flyer. It was such a boon for me. And that's where the 13 additional transactions came from. Now think about it. If I was a realtor at RE/MAX and I had a flyer at the fire stations, that's 10, 12, 13 fire stations, and I was getting all these firefighters to contact me at RE/MAX. I was at RE/MAX at the time, but I had a mortgage banker who I did all my deals with that was part of the Hero Benefits Network. Can you see where if you had 4 or 5 of Russ at RE/MAX, you wouldn't really have to do much prospecting, would you? You'd be pretty much inundated with inquiries just from those 15, 16, 17 RE/MAX agents that were out there doing the work. So when I said at the beginning that we had the easiest job in real estate, I could tell you that after 37 years of experience. This particular part of our real estate industry is cake. It needs no talent. We say TNT means takes no talent. TNT takes no talent. It doesn't take any talent to give away $5,000. It doesn't take any sales talent per se to approach firefighters, teachers, law enforcement officers with relocation grants and down payment assistance. Why this is such an exciting arena for me, like I said, I've been working with the Police Benevolent Association for 37 years, but I've never been able to reach out to the Police Benevolent Association in Pennsylvania. I didn't have any coverage in New Jersey. I didn't have any coverage in Connecticut. I didn't have any coverage in Maine. So now that we're bringing on these realtors from the mid-Atlantic states, and we're bringing on these realtors from Texas, and we're bringing on these realtors from Michigan, what we're finding is that the segue, or perhaps the entree into the Police Benevolent Association, is even easier for our realtors now because of all the work we've done over the last 30 or 40 years. You know, you think about the firefighter union. There is a union president that gets paid dollars to demonstrate benefits to his union members. That's his job. He's the union director, so he wants to show all of his members all the benefits that his union brings, right? Well, I want you to think about that. My union president in Broward County, Florida, a guy named Tommy Lord, Lord, you can look him up. He was the president of the firefighters union about 15 years ago when I was working with him independently as an individual RE/MAX agent. And you know what he did for me? Just like that cop, just like the firefighter down at the Sunrise PD did. He put my flyer in a quarter-page ad in his newsletter every single month. And guess how much he charged me at RE/MAX? $0. Because essentially we were fulfilling one of his primary goals, was to provide benefits to his constituency. So when I say that you could have a Fairway Funding ad in a Police Benevolent newsletter for free, I'm not exaggerating. You know, you're with Movement Mortgage or you're with Countrywide, or you're with Countrywide's gone, but you know what I'm talking. You're with Cross Country, and you could have the American Legion pushing emails out to their members about your down payment assistance and relocation grant program within the Hero Benefits Network. So when we talk about free advertising through the Chicago Teachers Union or through the AFL-CIO or through the Police Benevolent Association, we're creating a game changer for you as a mortgage banker. Not only are we building an empire of referral agents for you, 30, 40, 50 deep in a county, but we're also building a constituency of advertisers for you that go out and promote these down payment assistance relocation grants to their members. So this page might be the most important page you'll see if you can start to comprehend, like, what if every newspaper just put an ad for you for free? Well, that's what happens inside of the essential employees relocation job. You know, these industry leaders at the school board or at the Police Benevolent Association, the fraternal or police, do promote our members free from any charge in most cases. And I want to thank Larry, who jumped on the call with Devin yesterday. He's a Keller Williams agent, already closed several transactions with us, but he's most famous for his relationship building. This guy is just a juggernaut. He's out there meeting with principals and fire chiefs and police chiefs, and he's getting the word out in a completely new and different way. Devin, you had a chance to talk to Larry, I think it was yesterday or maybe it was on Friday. You remember where his enthusiasm was coming from? Was it just the work ethic that he's putting into it, or was he actually shocked by something that some of the heroes have done since he got in with us?
It's mostly, everybody looks for, the secret sauce or, the secret recipe. And with Larry, it's just about communicating with other people and the value that Hero Benefits Network is able to bring. I mean, just from starting basic conversations with people in his network. He's about to sign up the Air Traffic Controllers Union in Washington, D.C. He signed up a local school board in his area, I think in New Jersey or Pennsylvania. He's crushing it, creating a network.
Yeah, and in markets where some agents are not even doing a deal a month, you've got agents that did 3 deals since they joined. Like it's crazy, like 2, 3, 4 transactions in a row after only being in the system for a couple months. I know there was one lady in the Northeast that had done 3 transactions, I think in her first month with Hero Benefits Network, if I'm not mistaken. I might be off by a couple days, but it was certainly within the first 60 days. Do you remember that person's name, Randy?
Say that one more time. I didn't hear you.
Remember there was a lady who did a bunch of deals right as soon as she joined on. They were all Hero deals. I think she's closed 3 deals with us, and she's only been with us for about 60 days or so.
Yeah, I can't remember her name exactly.
Joyce is her name.
Joyce. There you go. Joyce Texera.
Yeah, I mean, she came in and we were expecting maybe, a deal a quarter, or maybe, if we were lucky, a deal a month. She does 3 deals right off the bat. So it's just exciting to see the energy that's coming out of these rock stars from Keller Williams and RE/MAX and Century 21. I don't want to ramble on about this too long, but I've been in the real estate and mortgage liaison business for about the past 15 years. That's what I did. I helped Annie Mac Home Mortgage do about $26 billion in mortgages over the last 14 years. Most of that was realtor referred. Because we had this liaison relationship between the mortgage bankers and the realtors, we were able to do more business. What Hero Benefits Network is going to do for you as a mortgage banker is help you liaison those relationships to these top producing realtors across your area. But we're going to hitch them to you with a little bit of barb on the hook. I want you to imagine there's a little bit of barb on this hook with these realtors because they're intimately collaborating with you from this point forward. Larry Steinberg with Keller Williams Realty wants to work with the mortgage banker that's with Hero Benefits Network because it increases the down payment assistance and relocation grants that he's able to provide his consumers. So enough said on that. I'm really big on culture. I'm really big on scripts, dialogues, and making sure that everyone's kind of acting the right way. We like to use the term the difference black and white. Well, in this case, I'll use differences red and blue. In the red, we see realtors all across the country introduce themselves as a realtor. Hi, my name's Bob. I'm with Keller Williams. Fantastic. Larry was doing that for years and years and years. I think Larry's been in the real estate business a bunch of years. He was introducing himself as Larry Steinberg from Keller Williams Realty. But now he's going out and he's introducing himself. Hi, my name's Larry. I'm the benefits director for Hero Benefits Network. We're a nonprofit. We're helping first responders with home ownership. We provide down payment assistance relocation grants to teachers in Broward County. Could we set aside 15 minutes to get together and show you how it works? You know, one of those introductions is your job. And in my humble opinion, even a pragmatic mortgage banker that's used to making $1 million a year, you know, can get behind a purpose-driven life. You know, like, yeah, you were making 100 grand a year last year when interest rates, I mean, you were making 100 grand a month last year when interest rates were 3%. But now you need to reestablish your 40 or 50 realtor referral partners, don't you? So creating some passion and some purpose behind the benefits world is a great way to just ignite or reignite your passion for the mortgage business, especially as it relates to these realtors. You know, I know a lot of mortgage bankers that are frustrated with their realtor referral partners. But if you could ever get in alignment with your realtor referral partners where you're both on the same side of the desk and you're both looking out at the problem together as true partners, that's what Hero Benefits Network does in these geographic protected territories. I like that screen where all those leaders were on. Remember, I said that's my most important screen. It had firefighters, it had PBA, it had the unions. This screen really speaks to the business side of the network. If you happen to have been a Union Home Mortgage in the center of Macon County, you now have, you know, 15 agents at Remax, 10 agents at Century 21, 11 agents at Keller Williams, and 5 agents at Sotheby's. I mean, those are your agents inside of your own exclusive geographic territory. And essentially all we're doing together, the only thing we're collaborating on is giving away money. So it's a fantastic envoy into new relationships. It doesn't really take a lot of talent. Like I said earlier, it's TNT, baby. Takes no talent to give away money. So you've got an exclusive brokerage or an exclusive branch in a particular county at the mortgage level, and we're able to funnel our curated down payment assistance and relocation grants through you. On Tuesday, we do a title tour. And why I want to show this to my mortgage bankers is because of this sentence right here at the bottom of your screen next to that stool. Mortgage bankers have been turning to Annie Mac Works or turning to different programs to host lunch and learns or to create a camaraderie with their realtors. You know, they'll bring in a speaker like Brian Buffini or Tony Robbins or whatever. And they always trying to make their bank feel special in the hearts and minds of realtors, aren't they? Well, what we can do with your bank is we can host weekly meetings for the realtors. Devin, Randy, Russ, Carrie, all the executive directors and sales directors and national directors from Hero Benefits can help you teach, train, and coach your realtors how to work within this system. So whether you hosted a once a week meeting from now on to bring your realtors together, or maybe you just plan a monthly pizza party for us to be able to share best practices and planning with your real estate agents. I want you to really understand once and for all that you managing a Hero Benefits Network division in your area creates competition among your realtors. They're all competing to be the #1 realtor in that area. And we do give out awards and recognition relative to that. They want to belong to something that's bigger than themselves. So you hosting that monthly pizza party and bringing them together to celebrate the work that they're all doing in the Hero sector is exciting. And that interaction is what leads to appreciation and loyalty, right? It's not like you can just cold call a realtor and become best friends. You've got to invest heavily in that relationship. So whether you as a mortgage banker are going to do weekly meetings in a partnership with your title company, like imagine you and your title company are hosting a weekly meeting, and then Randy and Devin and Russ and Carrie are coming on every couple of weeks to jazz up the meeting and add best practices and planning with them. I think the competition, the belonging, the interaction create a central purpose for you and your realtors. Like it's a great way to just, I don't know, it creates a culture. I honestly think it's a culture that you're creating there, and that's sticky. You know, if you're a mortgage banker that's got great culture if you're a mortgage banker with a great title company and together you create a hero-centric culture, then those realtors that are attracted to that culture are going to come see you. I mentioned statewide, I mentioned countywide, and I mentioned zip code exclusives. You as a mortgage banker can come in and secure an exclusive geographic territory, be it a county, a zip code, or a state, and you can nominate title companies and real estate agents to work with you in that area. Randy, do you want to add anything about right here about these economies of scale? Because you brought in our first statewide title partner in Connecticut, I think.
No, actually, we have one loan officer that bought the whole state of Connecticut, but we have one title company that bought the whole state of New Jersey.
I see.
And
Gotcha.
what was nice about that is that they realize, after talking to them, that they can increase their business tenfold by, first of all, supporting the heroes that we have out there. But at the same time, we're introducing them to new real estate agents, new loan officers, along with them introducing us to real estate agents and loan officers that want to be part of the program. And the business that they've already seen, it's increased dramatically just because we have loan officers and real estate agents that are out there working the area.
I want to hammer this one home for our mortgage bankers who might be online today on a Monday. We're doing the loan partner work together with them, aren't we? Like, we're bringing a lunch and learn together to their branch. We're presenting value to their realtors. We're enrolling their realtors. And then we've got this beautiful barb on the hook that says, hey, if you want to work in the Hero Benefits, you got to work with this mortgage banker. I mean, it's like you couldn't really plan it much better than that. Win, win, win. And the last thing is that the hero wins by getting, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 towards the purchase of a home, or up to $10,000 for the relocation. I mean, they're really truly appreciative of this network. I haven't had a piece of feedback other than enthusiasm from the buyers. I don't think anybody in this organization have we?
I don't think so.
One of the things I like to do is teach realtors how to close. So let's say I'm a mortgage banker. I've got 50 realtors working for me in my county through the Hero Benefits Network. I want to teach, train, and coach them how to get the most out of the Hero Benefits Network. And the best closing sentence we found is, let's find out how much of a grant you qualify for. When a realtor says that, they need you to find out. We teach realtors how to hand the customer white glove handoff to you. The realtor says, let's find out how much of a grant you qualify for. Well, the secret sauce is we can't determine their grant until you've determined how much mortgage they qualify for. So what we do is we use the grant as the carrot and the stick to get them to jump into a conversation with our mortgage partner and to get on the phone and to get qualified for a mortgage. Because once you, as the mortgage banker, do the PQ for us, then we can calculate the grant. We would just be flying blind without that PQ. So thank you very much, mortgage bankers, for making the Hero Benefits Network work, because we need to know how much the consumer qualifies for monetarily before we can even issue a grant voucher. So I want to show you the sequence of events that happens one last time inside of the Hero Benefits Network, so you can kind of get a feel for how this sales funnel produces so much. We take inquiries and our realtors take inquiries direct to Hero Benefits Network. We run herobenefitsnetwork.org and herobenefitsnetwork.com, and that collects registrations from heroes. Those are called inquiries. Our realtors do the wants and needs analysis. We have a very specific wants and needs analysis script that we give to the realtors and teach them. And then lo and behold, right then, when they finish the wants and needs analysis, they say, let's find out how much of a grant you qualify for. Hey, you want to buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, hoping for a pool, need a garage, and you're looking to be in this section of the county. Great. That's your wants and needs analysis. Now let's figure out how much of a grant you qualify for, which brings them directly to pre-qualification with you. Once you've pre-qualified this hero, we at the network can make a grant decision. We make the grant decision based on your pre-qualification. We need to know about how much of a house they're going to buy before we can issue a grant. Vouchers then issued and signed by the network, and then your realtor and your buyer go out shopping. Now, if you're in the mortgage business more than 5 minutes, you know that this is the scariest time in the world. The word shopping. They're out there shopping. They're meeting other mortgage bankers. They're meeting other mortgage vendors. They're meeting other mortgage people, and they're meeting other realtors while they're out shopping, aren't they? They're shopping on Zillow. They're shopping on Realtor.com. They're shopping on Homes.com. And whoever's the best salesperson might grab that customer right out of the ether, right? Just grab them. And then all of a sudden we're out of luck. But the Hero Benefits Network provides this little teeny barb on the hook. It's called 10 grand. You know, I'm not shopping as much if I've got a relocation grant. You know, I'm not going to beat you up on 1/8 of a point typically. And if they list their home for sale, or they find a house, that's when they go 1003 with you. That's when they go with a mortgage application for you. So I hope that illustrates for you as the mortgage partner, that's the final step, to send it to the title partner for escrow. So I'm going to show you this in white on your screen. We're almost wrapping up here for today's session, but we're looking for one primary title company per partner. We tried with 6 or 8 or 10 title partners per state. It's a nightmare. We need to organize the protocol. We need to have clear to close protocol and get the relocation grants done. So we're looking for one title company to be the HBN fulfillment partner in a state. And then right under that, we'd love to see one mortgage banker per county. By having a single mortgage banker in the county, they become an influencer for us by bringing this network of 50 to 100 realtors in that county together to work together. And you as a mortgage banker continue to certify real estate agents for free. It doesn't cost any money to certify them. So we all go out together, that 3-tiered layer cake right there. You know, you got your 40 or 50 realtors in the county, you got one mortgage banker in the county, you got one title company in the state. I said my favorite screen was the unions. Then I said a more very important screen was the calculations. But this one's pretty sweet, because if you happen to have been the title company and you had 30 or 40 mortgage bankers in your state, and then under there you had 40 or 50 realtors per county, you could see how that entity inside of Hero Benefits Network could be a major piece of your business, the divisionalization of your business enterprise, right? So let's say you are Paul Pykosh and you are with Fairway, or you are with Cross Country, and you say, how could I ever build up a network that's more important than me waking up every morning and going to work? If you could ever build up your HBN network, hell, you'd have recurring repeat referral business over and over and over again through this division of your entity. I hope that makes sense to you. The big ugly gorilla on the right hand side of your screen, Russ Fitzpatrick, my beautiful wife Carrie in the center, and Randy Nemiroff on the left. Devin, I think we're going to have you send everyone who is on today a copy of the quiz or the cert, if you would, because I don't have a link to that quiz.
Of course.
But I want to wrap up on this topic. There's a 10-question quiz that you finish to get certified under Hero Benefits Network. And if you're a mortgage banker, we do not require you to buy a county or a zip code or a state. We just require you to get certified. And if you're a mortgage banker who is on today, we covered all of the content that you would need to answer the questions. And I'm going to go back to end our time together on this one question that confuses everybody. And I'm just going to go to it right now because some folks have gotten this wrong. So you might want to write this down so that your quiz goes well. 0.0115 is the calculation on a purchase. That's how much money we create through these donations as it's relative to a purchase. And then it says more complicated, but it's really just adding the two together. The purchase rebate at 0.0115 plus the selling rebate at 0.0075 combines to equal a relocation grant. I'm going to pass it over to Devin to get you guys your quiz to make sure that you take the 10-question quiz. If you could put that in the comment section or just email it to anybody who's on. I would open it up for questions for Randy, Devin, anybody want to say something before we wrapped up? And tomorrow's title. So if you know a title vendor who has never been exposed to the Hero Benefits Network, we would love it if you'd refer us someone to come to the certification tomorrow, Tuesday at noon. And if you know of a realtor and you want to bounce it off of them, sort of like, hey, what do you think about this? Get them to come on Wednesdays at noon, because every Wednesday we talk to realtors, every Tuesday we talk to title companies, and every Monday we talk to mortgage bankers. So enough said for me. I'll just open it up to any questions before we wrap up.
What I will say is, guys, the Hero Benefits Network quiz, a link to that is posted inside of this Microsoft Teams chat. I will also be sending a follow-up email today for those of you that did in fact register. And inside of there will be a recap, a recording of what was covered, and also a link to the quiz. But if you guys do have any problems or further questions over the next couple of days, I'll add in my email as well as Randy's and Russ's, so that, you know, we can answer any queries that you may have. Randy?
Yes.
Did you want to end on something today before we let everybody go?
So I'll just tell a quick story. So I got a call last week from the head of relocation at a national real estate company. And she called me up and she said, Rand, I just got to ask you a question. I'm starting to get all of these deals and requests from some of our realtors because they're doing deals with Hero Benefits Network, and I want to learn a little bit more about it. I said, that's fantastic. By the time we got done talking, not only did she send me the entire database of every real estate agent for the entire company nationwide, but we have a meeting set up for this Thursday to go into a little bit more detail on how we can use them as a national sponsor and really push the program out to tens of thousands of real estate agents all over the country.
I think I know the number, Randy. I think it's closer to 70,000 realtors. It's pretty exciting. And
well, actually, that was one company. They had 80,000, but there was a brand new company, Russ, that called me last week. Yeah, I know. I haven't even told you about that one yet, but I'll just say it starts with an S. You guys can figure it out from there. It'll be part of the quiz that you're taking today. But
let me take a guess. Do you have to pinch your teeth together when you say their name because you're hanging out in Palm Beach County or you're in Greenwich, Connecticut? Is it one of those Sotheby's type organizations?
That could be it. Yes. That was very good. Now we know Russ knows his real estate.
Well, I just can't tell you how excited I am about working together with these realtors, because as you're growing the realtor community for Hero Benefits Network, it's only benefiting our mortgage and title partners. I mean, you're basically doing their legwork for them by going out and getting all these damn realtors at the big brands. So can't thank you enough for the connecting work that you're doing. I told Carrie, I think we should change your title to Chief Connection Officer, because you connect all these different entities together. And that's what's been the force of the whole thing between you and me.
Yeah, it's fun that way because there's so many people out there that can all benefit from each other. And when you start tying all these different groups together, it becomes this big puzzle that all of a sudden is getting completed right in front of your eyes.
Well, I'll end on this. I read a book by Malcolm Gladwell called The Tipping Point. I'm going out today to buy his follow-up book called The Revenge of the Tipping Point. And it's all about connectors like you, Randy, and how they affect an avalanche tip. You know, it's like, hey, it's pretty cool that we're doing Hero Benefits Network as a nonprofit. It's pretty cool we make it so affordable for realtors, mortgage bankers, and title companies to do it. It's so cool that we do the the win-win relationship with the first responders. But I think the coolest thing is this feeling that it's all like a tidal wave coming in. Like it feels like a tsunami based on like what's going on with, I don't want to mention some of the names because they're not papered up yet, but like literally some of the biggest mortgage bankers in the country, some of the biggest real estate brands in the country, and little old Hero Benefits Network. So it's pretty cool, isn't it?
It's very cool. You know, I was talking to, you mentioned Larry earlier.
Yeah.
He was telling me a story a couple of weeks ago that I think he spoke to Devin about. Was he set up an appointment with a school district, went into the school district, spoke to them, was out of there within 5 minutes, already had the whole school district signed up. By the time he got back to his office, he got calls from 2 more school districts because the superintendent of that school district called 2 other friends of his. And all of a sudden now he had 3 school districts signed up, and it just was all word of mouth.
I only presented to 1 superintendent of schools and 1 principal in the last 30 days, and both of them about fell out of their chair and immediately started saying, how can we promote this to my teachers? I mean, I've not had one, I would say I haven't had one human resources director that responded any different than that. They all say the same thing, don't they? They just say, thank you for doing that.
No, it's the easiest thing. I mean, one of our LOs in Connecticut introduced me to Fairfield University. And I get on the phone with the head of benefits, and she said, Rand, I just have 2 questions for you. I understand the program's free, costs us nothing. I said, correct. I understand every employee at the school qualifies for the program. I said, that's correct. She goes, okay, then we're in. She said, if it cost 5 cents, I would have needed board approval. But because there's no cost, the conversation didn't even last 2 minutes. And she's like, all right, we're in.
Well, the next level of that conversation I alluded to earlier in the Tommy Lord conversation, if you remember, he didn't need any approval for us to be able to promote it to his firefighters. The second tier of the relationship, when he went for a free quarter-page ad in the newsletter, he authorized that as the president of the union. And he said, no, it's good information. We want it in front of our firefighters. Let's put it in a newsletter. And he had to bring that to the board for an approval, but it got approved. But it's just funny. Like if you think about that one college that you just mentioned, what do they got? 1,500, 2,000 employees probably. And you're just talking about, it's almost like a realtor's geographic farming dream.
Yep.
In other words, instead of sending out a postcard with a recipe on it once a month and hoping for a listing, you're sending out a conversation through the leaders of that organization to the organization about you. I mean, it's just a fantastic win-win-win. I probably overstayed my welcome today, but I want to thank Devin for putting this together and for having some mortgage bankers on. I want to thank Randy for being the chief connection officer as I see him and how he's connected so many of these great industry leaders to us. And I want to thank the mortgage bankers for coming on today. And sorry I didn't have the quiz link directly for you on the screen, but you can go into the comments right now in Teams, or if you're on our social media feed, you can go into the comments and grab the quiz and go ahead and take the quiz to get certified as a Hero Benefits Network mortgage banker. If you want to talk to us about zip codes, go to herobenefitsnetwork.org and fill out the little form. It's $100 a month for a zip code. Counties are priced a little differently. You can talk to Randy, Devin, or I about that. But we are totally excited to expand the Hero Benefits Network. Thanks again, guys.
Good to see you, Russ. Looking forward to working with you again.
All right. Looking forward to it, Paul.
All right. Bye now.
Bye, guys.